Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video we're going to be doing a bit of a follow-up to my last video that I did on this channel, which was talking about 3DNA Desktop and doing an in-depth look at that program. If you haven't seen that video and if you want to check it out, it'll be up in the cards right now. But just to kind of give you the TLDR version of that video, we took a look at this program called 3DNA Desktop that was actually sent to me by a viewer. And essentially what it is a 3D desktop environment for your existing Windows installation. It's similar to Microsoft Bob in a lot of ways. And since we did that video, and since this is older software from the early 2000s, I naturally thought, why don't we go ahead and try this out on Windows 10 and see how it works, and if it even does work. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Now, as you may recall from that video, if you saw it, I did have two separate installers for 3DNA Desktop. One of them was the baseline version, and this other one over here is the customized PC Gamer Magazine edition. Now, we are going to be taking a look at both of these in this video right here, and just seeing if we can get both of them to work. We weren't able to get the PC Gamer specialized edition to work 100% successfully in the previous video. Now, I was running that under Windows 2000, which is more period specific. This software came out in 2002, so we're going to be trying this out, starting off with the baseline free version, the non-specialized edition, and seeing if we can get it to work. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. We're going to go ahead and run this program right here. Without any compatibility filters or anything like that, and we're going to authenticate and hit yes here and see if the program actually launches, and it looks like it does. Now, yeah, you can see that we're in the same virtual machine that we were when we tried out WinArrow Tweaker, so we do still have those gigantic buttons up at the top. I just decided just to leave those there and see how long we can use this VM with these oversized buttons. But it looks like the installer actually opens up, which is a good sign. So we're going to go ahead and hit next here and just continue on with the installation. We're going to accept the terms of the license agreement, and we're going to hit next to start the hardware check, which this will be interesting. And see what it's able to find. Okay, so it's found that we have 2 gigs of RAM, which is much more than the recommended 384 megabytes, 256 megabytes of VRAM, but for some reason our CPU is still saying it's a 94 megahertz CPU. Which is definitely not accurate. This was the same thing it was doing in that previous video in my Windows 2000 virtual machine. So we're going to go ahead and hit next here. It will be able just to get past this, like it did before. We'll go ahead and hit next here, and we will install it. So yes, this is a 32-bit application. That's why we don't need anything like OTVDM or the NT Virtual DOS machine to actually get this to work, because it is already a Win32 application. So the install has completed here with these oversized, scroll bars. Still, we'll go ahead and hit next here. And putting in our email address, I actually found out you really don't have to put in a proper email address. You can just type in like 1 and put 1 for the zip code, and it once again found that we have a i7 7700K at 4.2 gigahertz, but then it says 94 megahertz over here. We've got the same VMware SVGA. This is actually a newer version, obviously, for Windows 10. And we'll go ahead and just hit next here, and we'll hit finish. Let's actually run 3DNA right after installation, and see if it launches. And you see that right off the bat, we get an error message saying this program has been damaged, possibly by a bad sector of the hard drive or a virus. Please reinstall it. That's interesting. I've never gotten that error before. That must be specific to, 3DNA here. It's kind of funny that it specifically says this could be a virus. Well, I just tried to launch it again, and we're actually getting the arrow circle, the little spinning circle, basically the hourglass. And it actually looks like it tries to load. If you guys remember from my previous video, that little 3DNA orb that would kind of sit on the Windows desktop, it looks like it's trying to load that, but it is just a black square box at the moment. And if I click on this, it's probably gonna, yeah, it looks like it's gonna say that it's not responding. Yeah, that's probably what that is doing. Well, in the meantime, we'll just let that run in the background. Let's actually go into... Oh, I forgot we have the C drive hidden from... we did that through WinArrow. So yeah, you can see here that it says it's not responding. So we'll just close out of the program because I do want to apply a compatibility filter and see if that is up here, 3DNA, and just see if that helps. So we're going to go into 3DNA Desktop, and we have the folder right here. We do have a windowed variant of the program, which basically runs it in a window, so we can try that too, and see if that one works. But we're just going to go ahead and try to go into properties here, go to compatibility, and we're going to run this in compatibility mode for, let's just do XP. Yeah, let's just start with Service Pack 2. Hit OK and just and see if that helps anything. So we'll hit yes here to authenticate. So let's go ahead and open up Task Manager here to see if it's actually running in the background, which it looks like it is. So that is a good sign. So it is running in the background. We're just not seeing anything yet. Yeah, nothing in the system tray. So let's go ahead and wait for it here. So yeah, it's been a little bit here. I'm still not actually seeing any activity like visually from the program. It is still running in the background here. So we'll go ahead and just end the task here, end the process. Let's actually try the windowed variant of the program and see if that, allows us to actually launch the program here. You see on all of these, the date modified is around 2003, May of 2003. This one's June of 2003. So, yeah, that is how old that this specific version of the program is. And yeah, this is version 1.1, which I believe was the latest version, because this was version 1.1 was advertised on their website even in like 2011. So I believe this is like the latest version of the program. And it was, copyright 2002 to 2003. So it is still interesting that like their website remained online for like so long. I mean, because if this version was developed in 2003 and that's the latest version they had, and their website was online until like 2011, it's just kind of crazy that it was just online for that long. But yeah, so the windowed variant is doing the exact same thing. It is showing up in Task Manager, but it's not actually doing anything. So I wonder if we can, we obviously can't use OTVDM or the regular NTVDM because we're on a 64-bit computer, but we can't use OTVDM because it's not a 16-bit program like I mentioned before. Let's see if we disable full screen optimization, because it's not like it's running in the background. It is running in the background, but it's not like showing us anything, which is not a good sign. Let's go ahead and just try that and try to just run this program that way. See if disabling full screen optimizations help. We'll go ahead and end the windowed variant of the program. Well, I think what we'll do is we'll just let it run in the background and see if it does anything. In the meantime, I'm going to install the PC Gamer variant of the program and see if we can get that to work. Let's go ahead and just run that here. And yeah, see if this, so the installer, just like the other installer, does load up properly. So, and yeah, it says supports the following versions of Windows. No other versions will work. 2000 XP, SE, or 98 SE, and Windows ME. Windows taskbar remain hidden. Okay. Oh, that's interesting. On Windows 98 and ME, the Windows taskbar will remain hidden while the 3DNA Desktop is active. Overall, program works better on faster computers with faster graphics cards. So we'll just say next, we'll hit agree, and we're actually going to change the destination folder because I want to make us a completely separate directory. So we'll just call this 3DNA PC, short for PC Gamer. So we'll do that, we'll hit next, and we'll give it a different name for it says enter name of the program manager group. Gosh, that's the installer program still says program manager, which is kind of funny. We'll hit next here, and so now it's going to install to a separate directory, which is just what we want. And we'll go ahead and go through the registration process again. So we have a fast and we have a good graphics card. There we go. That is perfect. So let's finish here, and let's go ahead and actually go into. So it actually, so it looks like it launched here. 3DNA SYS is the system tray, and it looks like it's actually down here. So let's actually, let's start 3DNA and see if this works. Okay, so this version is actually showing up with the orb here. Now let's see if it actually does the same thing as it did before in Windows 2000, which is it would launch, but it would just freeze, and it wouldn't allow us to go any further into the program. We can move the orb around, so that's, so we got part of the program to work, but yeah, it's still not actually loading up the actual interface. Let's go ahead and actually just try to end all of these tasks here, because it might be confused with the other with the other version of the program that it has running here. So we'll go ahead and just end that task as well. And now let's go into the start menu, and let's go to 3DNA PC and run 3DNA Desktop here. So yeah, you see it opens up in the system tray, which is a good sign. That's exactly what it did before. And now we will start 3DNA. So it launches the little orb interface, and we'll see if it launches the full screen interface, which it doesn't look like it's going to. Well, yeah, now it's frozen. We'll go ahead and just close out of the program. Let's go ahead and go into program files, and let me see if I can give this a compatibility filter. So let's go to compatibility. And let's actually do Windows 98 and Windows ME, and you see if that might help anything. Apply and OK, and we'll start it here. I'm kind of rethinking what I said about these taskbars, because this is getting kind of annoying in Task Manager here. But it doesn't even look like it's... Okay, there it is. So there's two variants of it running, which is interesting. But it's not showing up in the system tray or the taskbar. Okay, here we go. Program might not have installed. Let's try to install using compatibility settings. See if that does anything differently. Okay, so it's back down here in the system tray. See, if we go to like what I did before that caused it to crash is I tried to go to like the world chooser from the system tray here, and that literally causes the entire program to crash because there's no... Yeah, because like the entire program hasn't even been loaded yet, so it's like trying to load the world chooser, but there's no world to choose because the world, like, the actual program isn't actually launched yet. Let's go ahead and... So now it looks like it's frozen again. I'm not able to right click on this anymore, so we'll end the process once again from Task Manager. Okay, so let's try a couple more things. Let's go and let's enable reduce color mode. Let's run it at 640 by 480. We'll disable full screen optimizations, and we'll run it as an administrator. Hit OK, apply, OK, and let's actually, start it here. Okay, so we've switched to 640 by 480. And the program is not here. Alright, so we've kind of changed things up a little bit. You can probably see that I've switched VMs here. This is actually the 32-bit installation of Windows 10 that I used to install Microsoft Plus XP in, so we kind of still have that space theme applied. And I actually just found out that WinWorld actually hosts 3DNA Desktop, and they actually host the MSI customized version of it. You guys may, remember from earlier in this video and from that previous video that I was kind of briefly talking about the partnership that 3DNA had with multiple different companies to kind of create customized versions of this software for them. Well, one of those companies was MSI, and you can see right here, WinWorld has actually, provided us with a image of what this software would have looked like. This would be bundled with MSI's graphics cards, and it would just be there to kind of showcase the performance of their products. And you see they actually call it MSI 3D Desktop powered by 3DNA. And yeah, it looks, there's that same applications menu and the same, world options menu that we, took a look at from the free version. This is actually an older version though. This is version 1.0 of 3DNA, and the version that we took a look at in the previous video was version 1.1. So we're going to see if, miraculously, if being on a 32-bit VM as opposed to a 64-bit VM and using a different version of the 3DNA Desktop, if that is actually able to help us, and for some reason it is a corrupted. Still corrupted, okay. So yeah, I actually just went ahead and tried out, to install the same two versions of 3DNA that we took a look at in the 64-bit VM, and they both do the exact same thing, basically. The first one, doesn't even launch at all, or it launches but nothing actually comes up on the screen. And the second one will launch the little orb interface, but it won't, go further than that. So we're going to try out, I actually, somehow the archive that I downloaded from WinWorld from their server hosted in Kansas City was corrupted. At least that's what it was, telling me when I tried to open up the archive with 7-zip, because it is a 7z file. And, not the actual archive itself, but the ISO file contained in it was, corrupted, and the VM wasn't recognizing it. So I'm currently downloading it from their server in Germany and seeing if that version is not corrupted. And, yeah, that's taken about 4 minutes, so I'll be right back once that is downloaded, and we'll take a look at that. Alright guys, well, unfortunately, the archive that I downloaded from WinWorld's other server is also corrupted. And basically what's happening is when I try to actually open up the original .7z file that you download from WinWorld. Everything in there shows up fine and everything extracts okay, but the actual ISO file that's inside of that archive, when you try to open that up with either, you know, WinRAR, 7-zip, or put it into a VM, it says that it is corrupted. And in the case of the VM, it will actually just show a blank CD. So like right now, I have it in here, like the actual image, and it's just showing it as a blank CD with no files on it. So that is kind of unfortunate, because I thought we were going to be able to, you know, take a look at that older version. So that is probably going to go ahead and wrap it up for today's video. Yeah, this is one of those tech experiments that I just did here that unfortunately did not work the way that I'm sure we all wanted it to. We had the same thing happen when we tried to install Windows 10 on a Windows XP VM. I tried multiple different virtual machine softwares and ISO images, and it just basically gave us the same result, which is that it didn't work. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on how you think I could get this running under Windows 10, or if you guys have a copy of, you know, maybe an earlier version of this that you think might work, be sure to get at me down in the comments below or over on Twitter. I'm at MJD Tweets over there, as that's actually where a lot of the recent video suggestions have come through from some of you guys on Twitter. So thank you guys for that. You know, the interaction from you guys is always awesome, and it's always great to hear what you guys have to say. But as always, I just want to thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video.